everyone. It's Sunday once again. It's now, I think it's 2 minutes till 2 o'clock in the afternoon here in the UK. We're 2 minutes early, but I think it's always better to be early, anyways, than later. And it's 2 minutes till 9 in the evening in Manila. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Drummer. I'm really looking forward to today's episode of Ask the Drummer ever since my guest said yes to appearing on the show about I think it was a few months ago, a couple of months ago. Yeah, because, everybody loves the Beatles. I mean, it's a fact, isn't it? That everybody loves the Beatles. And today, I'm gonna have on Astro Drummer live um, Ringo of the Bootleg Beatles, and they're considered as the number one and the best the Beatles tribute band, I believe, in the whole world. And he's here now. So, my dear friends, please welcome the Bootleg Beatles Ringo, Gordon Elsmore.
Hi. Do you know what, that was such a good introduction, but I know what everybody's thinking. They're thinking, "Well, he doesn't look like Ringo. He doesn't look." I know, I know, I
I
know.
was I was actually thinking whether you're gonna be, dressed as Ringo when you appear on the show.
You know,
But
I could have done. I'm wearing a Bootleg Beatle T-shirt. That's about as good as you're going to get today, I think.
I was thinking of wearing my John Lennon T-shirt, but I couldn't find it. I think I must have left it in the Philippines. So I
Okay.
thought David Byrne is okay. So how are you? How are you,
I'm
Gordon?
fine. I'm very well. Thank you very much, Anna. I'm very well, thank you.
It's good. I mean, you're not from Liverpool yourself, are you?
No, I'm not from Liverpool. No, I'm not from Liverpool. No, I'm from Gloucestershire, which is sort of on the same side of the country, but 3 hours south.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but no, I'm not from Liverpool. No,
You're
people
not.
ask that a lot. People ask, "Are you from Liverpool?" And there's obviously in the band there's an awful lot of it's theatrical. It's a theatrical band.
Yeah.
But people kind of still want to know how close you are to being the Beatles. It's like, are you from Liverpool? Do you know any of the Beatles? Those sort of questions.
Yeah.
And the answer is no, because we're actors and musicians, and it's theatrical.
Yeah. Well, before we actually carry on, I just want to say a massive shout out to Stephen Erlin,
Oh yeah,
another awesome drummer from the Rain Band, and also a member of the Bootleg Beatles, I believe. So, because he
he,
plays
yeah, he's
piano.
a fantastic drummer. I bet he's watching this as well now. I bet he's watching this, and he's just heard me go. He's a fantastic drummer, and he's going to get me the next time I see him. He's going to get me. He's going to say, "Do you think I'm a fantastic?" I'll have to go, "Yes, yes, yes." He's fantastic, but he's also a great multi instrumentalist. He's a
Yeah,
guitarist
yeah,
and singer and keyboard player, and he plays keyboards in the Bootleg Beatles.
yeah. And he's your drum tech, I believe.
Well,
Is
I
that
mean that's that. Yeah, he sets my drums up and then leaves me to it. I think
oh,
he's.
okay.
I would say a drum tech is somebody that sits kind of like watching the show, making sure nothing goes wrong and changes all their heads and everything. He doesn't do all that all the time. He just sets the drums up for me,
Okay.
and then he just gets lost. You know. But he's got a lot
Yeah.
to do. He's got a lot to do, to be fair. A lot- he's got a lot more to do than just my drums, anyway.
He's actually told me the importance of a drum tech. Because yeah, as a part of the band, the whole thing, it's very important because especially if you're from like a big name band,
Yeah.
you've got to make sure that the drummers are, like they don't carry the drum kit and they just turn up. So the drummer just turn up and play because that's that's why the
I'm
drummer.
gonna I'm gonna have to have words with Mr. Earlham. And I'm gonna go back and look at that recording now and just yeah, put that in his face and go, go on.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
Steve and me get on well. We get on really well, and I don't expect him to. He's right in that drum techs are a very very important part. I mean, I've got a 1965 Ludwig downbeat, so there's not an awful lot of drums there to worry about, and a couple of cymbals. so he
Yeah,
doesn't really have to spend a lot of time maintaining it, although he does, to be
yeah.
fair. So yeah,
But would you agree that because Lol Tolhurst from The Cure once said that all drummers are friends? Would you agree to that one?
yeah,
You
that's
are
totally true.
friends, yeah.
That is completely true. I've never met a drummer that was unpleasant. If I'm being honest, I think, all right, okay, I've met one, but but generally all drummers are friends. All drummers share the same agenda, and that is basically to be on stage, but not to be too showy. We just kind of want to be there, but we want to be at the back. We're quite happy if we don't get too much adulation. It's fine. We just get to play the music. It's all
Oh.
right. You know.
Well, that's why I love drummers.
Yeah.
I will
Mm.
always love it. I will always love them. But anyway, so welcome to Ask the Drummer. Episode
Thank you.
173 is all about you, Gordon Elsmore, or Ringo
Oh,
of the
brilliant.
Bootleg Beatles.
Wow.
So you mentioned that you're from Gloucester, and
Yeah.
I did Google it. You're from a place called Forest of Dean.
Yes, Forest Dean. The Beatles played here once. They did.
Oh, okay. Well, I know the Forest of Dean because of EMF.
Oh my God! Wow, you brought that one. Wow, that's come back from a long, long time ago. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, EMF. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, EMF. I mean, they were
Yeah.
a little bit before my time. I was still at school back then.
Oh, I see.
But have I met any members of the EMF? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Oh,
Yeah, Mark the drummer, Mark the Clute. Yeah, I've met Mark. Yeah,
yeah.
and
James Atkin.
I don't remember. I mean, I guess I've brushed into them at other times. I know that the DJ Milf. I think
Yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I think he married the head teacher. Or he married a lady who became the head teacher of my children's primary
Oh,
school.
oh, right.
Mrs. Milford.
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
reason I got because in the 90s when I was living in the Middle East, I
Okay.
used to get Smash Hits regularly, the magazine. And
All
Smash It,
right.
yeah, and Smash It did this thing. It's so like a map of the UK because I, coming from the Philippines, I don't really know much. I didn't know much at the time about the UK. So there was
Yeah.
so Smash Hits did this map of the
Yeah.
UK, and it's
Yeah.
got all the famous bands, with all, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
of course EMF. It's like Forest of Dean. So it
Yeah.
was like, oh god, and it's stuck in my mind. That's where they're from.
Yeah, that's right. That's our claim to fame. And and I know I was looking at my kids the other day and my girlfriend's kids the other day, and I was thinking, gosh, the kids are dressing like EMF now. It's all kind of come back a little bit. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? With the
yeah,
baggy shorts and the caps and all
yeah,
that. It's all sort of come back. It's all gone full circle of 30 years.
yeah. Because they're still
Um,
touring.
yeah,
They're,
yeah, yeah. I know. I Google them every so often and see what they're up to. Yeah.
yeah, I see them at Shine On. There's a festival in Minehead every November called Shine On, and well, James Atkin is always there. Sometimes with EMF, and sometimes with BRA.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I love that song. I know that it got I know that it got an awful lot of airplay at the time and ever since. But I love that song.
yeah,
I love the guitar solo at the end. I love it. And I know people go, oh, this song, and I go, well, yeah, but you know what? It's if you come from the Forest of Dean, nothing happens here. It is a forest, okay? It's a forest of Dean. And for a band to make it that big, albeit for a short period of time, it was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, we have a few famous people here from the Forest of Dean over the generations we have, but that was quite something. That was really something. I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
yeah. Because when I met James Atkin for the first time, the thing that I ask him is, when people see you, do they always shout, "You're unbelievable"?
It wasn't their only song. It wasn't their only song. Um, but yeah, no, I don't. To be honest, I think I hope they keep going, yeah,
Yeah,
keep touring
yeah.
and keep going because they still got. I love EMF and I don't mind anybody knowing. Okay, I love EMF.
Aiden O'Rourke said sound and picture great. Aiden is our tech support, so it's good whenever he says that. So you mentioned that it's a forest, like forest
Yeah,
indeed.
yeah.
What's the music scene apart from EMF, of course? I mean, what's the music scene like that when you were growing up?
Well, it's quite interesting actually because when I was growing up and I was playing drums, I got into local bands. It was almost as if no band ever played anything past 1970. It was all 60s. We were all in 60s covers bands and stuff like that. That was what you were going to see if you went out to watch a live band back in those days. It's kind of like bands playing 90s stuff now, I guess, but back in those days it was all 60s, and that was the thing. And after a while of doing that, I went to sort of, moved to London for a while, and I auditioned for a lot of bands that were sort of, creative, doing their own original stuff.
Yeah,
And I didn't really have a great deal of success. I did have some success. That's not complete, but I got most success in Beatle tribute bands. So I auditioned for a Beatle tribute band, and I think instantly, because I'd been playing so much 60s stuff, I just had that feel. I had that 60s feel of somewhat reserved, somewhat laid back,
yeah,
just grooving along, with some 60s kind of fills, and it was quite. I think I just stepped into it as if it was like meant to be.
yeah, yeah. But are you from a musical family?
No, not at all. My grandmother
No.
was musical. My grandmother could play the piano.
Okay.
Um, but no, not I wouldn't say music. She found a clarinet underneath the stairs, the cupboard in the stair underneath the stairs, and she said, "Give that to Gordon. Gordon can learn how to play that." So I learned how to play the clarinet for a brief period of time. But
Okay.
so it was kind of like, that was my first sort of musical, and that was kind of what led me into playing the drums, really, being exposed to more music and more live music.
Yeah,
I guess that's
yeah.
how I ended up playing the drums after that.
But did you try learning other like guitar or keyboard?
I tried, but I'm afraid to say I'm a one-trick pony. I can only do one thing, and that is to play the drums.
Play
I,
the
I can't.
drums?
I can't. I think the piano thing was like I can't follow two lines of music at the same time. That seemed to be like an impossible talent that only certain people have. The guitar again, it's like my fingers weren't really big enough to do that, or at least I didn't think so. I couldn't seem to stretch, so no, I gave
Yeah,
up on that as well. But I like hitting things. It's just like I like hitting. I think all drummers were like the instantaneous. You hit a drum, it makes a sound, and it's just about how to make that a little bit
yeah.
better. That's really, I think it's just an instant joy of hitting something.
Yeah. So, did you have proper drum lessons, or did you just teach yourself how to do it?
No, I did. I just. Oh, no, I didn't have drum lessons. I could read music. I adapted my knowledge from playing the clarinet to playing the drums. I didn't have any lessons because it wasn't really the thing. I don't think it was the thing that my parents really wanted me to do, and I begged them. Oh, I begged them for about 2 years to get me a drum kit. It was that long, and in the end, I had to buy my own.
Oh,
And but they gave me some money, and they said you've got to go mow the lawn for the next 2.5 years or whatever it was to pay off the money for the drums. And I had a Pearl export with some crappy cymbals on my 15th birthday, 15th or 14th. I think it was the 15th birthday. Yeah.
yeah. And then, what about the neighbors? Were they okay with you playing the drums, or did they like, you can't do that?
I mean, uh, okay, so I mean, I still feel bad now. I feel bad now. I feel worse every day. I feel worse about what I put my sister through, because my
Oh,
my s- my my sister had the bedroom right next door to me. Okay, and I was allowed to play the drums between 4 and 6 when I came in from school, and at no other times, and maybe occasionally on the weekend. But my sister had the bedroom next door to me, and I remember thinking, oh, what, I remember thinking this is quite loud, but I no, now I realise how loud it was. I must have given my sister hell. It must have been hell for my sister. I made her safe space turn into hell. Because I would sneakily try and get an extra half an hour in. I'd try and
Yeah.
play early on a Saturday morning or Sunday, any opportunity I had to play, I played. And my sister was just in a room next door. She must have been thinking, I hate my brother. I hate him. I hate him.
It's all worth it though, because look at you now. I mean, in the bootleg Beatles. So
Well,
I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah.
she's very proud of you, and she's really happy that
I don't
you.
think she is. I don't
Oh,
think she
she's
is. No. She still thinks well, little brothers are always going to be little brothers.
yeah. So you tried joining like original. I mean, I don't really want to
Yeah.
say original band, but bands where you do like your own music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got signed quite a few times actually. I got signed quite a few times, but the thing was, it's if you go down that route, you've got to either have a job doing something else that earns money, or you have to be in a band that pays money. And being signed, especially in the early days when you just get signed and there's not an awful lot of money, you're doing an awful lot of gigs for no money at all, and you can't sustain that really, which is kind of why bands at that level kind of split up because a year or two of doing that, it
Yeah.
becomes almost impossible unless you have a hit. But so I guess I was signed. I can't remember 4 or 5 times maybe in bands that kind of had a single, had an album, did a tour, and then split up because it just wasn't just go. It just wasn't
Oh,
taking
okay.
off.
So what's
Uh,
the name of the band?
I was in a band. I was in a few bands. Now I think one of them was called Miss Machine. I guess that was one of the ones. We had like a single out, and that was produced by a guy called Gordon Raphael, who was producing the Strokes at the time. So it
Oh,
was in that kind of era. There were a few other bands that a lot, there were sort of along the same sort of route. I mean, there's a
yeah.
band called Sweetheart that got signed, but we didn't quite get the record to go. And it was there were lots of like little bands. There's a guy called Michael Galliano who's in the Beatle world. We played with him in Let It Be. He had a band called the Sales, and that's you can still get Sales. You can still get my drumming up from playing in the Sales on Apple Music, I think. So
Yeah.
there's bits and pieces still around. I did a bit of sort of session work with other bands. I did like a bit of Top of the Pops. I played on Top of the Pops a couple of
Oh
times,
wow. What was that like?
television.
Oh,
Well, I mean, you say Top of the Pops. I played with Darren Hayes. Remember Darren Hayes, the Savage Garden?
yeah,
I
yeah,
played with him. It was just like a few television appearances with him, and the thing is about doing something like Top of the Pops. When you watch it or any of those sort of shows at that time, you
yeah.
think it's think it's really live, but actually the playback is really quiet, and they have all the sort of like it's a miming job really. I had all the pads on the drums and stuff, so it was
Okay.
like really quiet, and I was thinking, gosh, I can't really hear what's going on. And it's a very false environment to play music or even to pretend to play music. It's very strange. TV studios.
Oh, right, but in the past, because a lot of the musicians, so when they were interviewed about it, I mean, Top of the Pops like the TV show that they wanted to get on.
Yeah.
It's like you made it if you're the
Back
parents
in
of
that,
Top of the Pops.
yeah, back in the 90s and sort of like the early sort of noughties, when it was still going, it was
Yeah,
still quite, it was quite, had quite a lot high credibility. But performing on there
yeah.
is nothing like performing live.
Okay.
It's nothing like performing. It's almost like it's almost as if yeah, it's a pseudo live experience, and it's cool. It's cool to say I've done it, but it's
Yeah.
it's it's not like anything else really.
So was it Savage Garden when you were, or is it Darren Hayes
It was
solo?
Darren
Solo.
Hayes when he did his solo work. I think I can't remember the song. It was either Insatiable
Oh
or what
right.
was it? I think was it that one or I can't remember. There was another one. There was
Oh,
an I can't remember. I can't remember. It's
I need
20
to look it
years
up
ago.
on the YouTube. I didn't realize that. Like, 'cause
It wasn't Insatiable. There was another song after. I can't, there was another follow up single to that one, and that's the one I did on Top of the
that
Pops.
you did on Top of the Pops.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've always been uh like you've been in the Bootleg Beatles for a long time, but I wanted to ask you first because you know when I said the original band, and I suppose because tribute bands, I mean being in a tribute band, sometimes you get like a bad reputation because some people don't want to see or don't want to go and watch tribute bands.
Yeah.
But the Beatles is different though. There must be like thousands of tribute bands, like the Beatles tribute bands, and I believe, I mean, you're regarded as the number one.
Well,
And
thank you very much.
yeah,
Yes, we are. I'll say that we'll have the opportunity. You, we are the number one Beatles tribute.
yeah. Well, what do you think about a tribute band, not just as the Beatles, but the other tribute bands as well?
The tribute scene is a very, very, very varied sort of scene in that there are lots of different tributes to lots of different performers, and some are absolutely diabolical, and some of them are extremely good. And you've got that whole spectrum of performers within there. And I think I've seen, as far I've only ever been in the Beatle tribute world. I haven't been into like any tribute bands to any other performers like Rolling Stones or anything like that. I've only been in the Beatles thing, and I think
Yeah,
I've played in about 20 or 30 Beatles tribute bands over the years, one way or another. And you see everybody, and some guys you think, gosh, they're really really good. Like I would definitely go and see them live. And obviously with the bootleg Beatles, I've sort of risen through like a kind of snakes and ladders kind of gone up to the top, where
yeah,
I've just got in progressively better bands. And the weird thing is, everybody that's in the Bootleg Beatles now, I've played with them in different bands individually. So I played with Steve White years ago when he in his band. I played with Steve Hill about 20 years ago when he came to play in my band. Paul, I met at Let It Be in the West End. So and other members of the band that have been in the band before, I've kind of met them on the road up. So we're all very dedicated to making it the best
yeah.
experience of the Beatles that an audience member can see, really.
Yeah, because nowadays there are even festivals, and they're all tribute bands performing in that festival. So it's like, if I mean for me, because at Shine On in Minehead, this
Yeah,
festival, there's always like a part there where there's a lot of tribute bands playing, and
yeah,
in a way because it's good because you hear all the music that you know.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, it's very very low risk, isn't it?
yeah.
It's kind of low risk,
Yeah,
but
and sometimes,
I think
you pay. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
I mean there's a lot of people that maybe don't want to go and see tribute bands, but there's an awful lot of people that do. And there's an awful lot of people that understand the artistry and the theatrics and the agenda of a tribute band to kind of create an illusion that you're seeing the real people.
yeah,
um and I
yeah,
think that in itself is part of the show. That is the show, really. It's the how close can somebody get, or check them out, and it's great to be carried along with that sense of
yeah,
illusion for
yeah,
that period of time. And of course the songs are great. The songs are
yeah,
great, especially the Beatles,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, how do you choose which songs? Because it's like a massive sort of like list or maybe collection of songs that the Beatles have got, and so how do you choose which ones to play? Because they're all popular,
Oh,
anyway.
yeah, I mean that is the question that we always have to ask ourselves. What are we going to play? Because the Beatles had like something 200 and odd songs, and most people will know about 85% of them. And
Yeah,
even if you do a 2-hour show, you're not gonna you're not gonna put all the well-known Beatles songs in there. You're gonna have to leave something out. Always
yeah,
gonna have to leave something out. And you have to decide, well, we'd like to do, say, Reply or Nowhere Man, or something that may be a little bit more sort of off the beaten track. But I mean, what do you drop out in order to put that song in? Do you drop out Hard Day's Night? Do you drop out Hey Jude? Do you drop out She Loves You or Want to Hold Your Hand? You
yeah,
just go, I feel fine. What do you drop out? in order to get one of those little B-sides or album tracks in. So
Yeah.
yeah, how do we decide? Well, um, when we do our theatre shows, our tour, our tours that go around the world, we have a particular kind of theme to it. So this year, we're doing the films. So we're only playing songs from the films. So that's
Oh, okay.
Days Night
Yeah.
Out, Magical Mystery Tour, Yellow Submarine, and Get
Yeah.
Back. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the show. That's what we dictates our show. I think the year before that we did like maybe we sort of honored the first album a couple of years ago. So we started the show with the brown suits, and we did Love Me Do Please Please Me, a lot of the songs from the first album, and then we mixed in from there. We did a sort of a more inclusive sort of show with a
Yeah.
lot of other hits and stuff. So we tend to theme our shows. Yeah,
Right. Because that alone is, it takes a lot of preparation to sort of like just choosing the songs to do
yeah,
in one
yeah.
show.
The manager tends to choose the songs, and we sort of like tweak them. We say, well, that isn't going to work there for practical
Yeah.
reasons. For
Yeah.
instance, like you can't say, if John's on an acoustic guitar, you can't play the acoustic guitar today, say do Hard Day's Night, and then put it down, and then do a song that has an electric, and then pick it back up. You have practical
Oh, yeah.
reasons
Yeah. Yeah.
why you have to put certain songs together,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
miss certain songs out. Certain songs don't really work live, or songs can be quite difficult to present live. We did Tomorrow Never Knows a couple of
Oh,
years
I
ago,
love
and
that song. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we did it with the orchestra. So the orchestra did the sort of electronic sounds. They
Yeah.
actually played it live. Otherwise, it would be basically playing along to a track, which we don't really do.
Oh,
So, that took quite a lot of took quite a lot of playing with that one. So there's reasons why some songs make it, and
yeah.
other songs don't.
I suppose you can't please everybody when you say, "Oh, how come you didn't play this song?" How
It's
come you
true.
didn't?
It's true. You can make people happy, but you can never quite satisfy them all. You can
Yeah.
never quite. But you get people saying, "Oh, why didn't you play Piggies?" And you look at them blankly, going, "Why would we play Piggies?" It's that's not a crowd pleaser. It's a great. I'm not disputing the track's fun, but it's right down the bottom of the White Album.
Yeah.
And
Well, I've only found out that the Bootleg Beatles actually been going. It was founded 45 years ago. It's a long time ago when they
yeah,
started the Bootleg
I
Beatles.
wasn't in it at the beginning.
No,
Okay.
no, that was like in 1980 about this. And so all the original members who founded it, they're all gone, or is...
No. Well, yeah. Well, Neil Harrison uh, is our manager, and he was an original member of the Bootleg
Oh,
Beatles.
okay.
He played from. He was in a show called Beatlemania that was in the West End, and when that sort of finished, the band carried on with a few sort of tweaks. It carried on in it, and Neil and Andre, David, I think, was in there at the time. They sort of carried on um, for the next. Would have been the next nearly 20 years, well, more than 20 years, I think it was. Yeah, they would have been playing it for another 30 years till 2010, I think. That Neil left playing, but then he became our manager along with Andre, who's no longer with us. They became our managers, and that's how it works. So there's still an input from the original,
From the original, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because you're the fourth Ringo in the
Oh, am
Bootleg
I?
Beatles. So
Am I? Am I? Am I
it's like, yeah, because from Wikipedia it says the first one is Jack Lee,
Yeah,
Blake, and
Jack,
then
yeah,
Rick
Rick,
Rock,
yeah, and
and
there's
then
Hugo, yeah,
Hugo,
and then that's
and
me.
you've been with them for quite some time now.
It'll be
It's
10
it's
years
like
in March now. 10 years in March, yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so you've always been sort of like playing in Beatles tribute bands before the Bootleg Beatles.
Yeah.
How how do you, I don't know how to sort of like say it, but how do you project your Ringo? I mean, have you met the man? Have you met Ringo?
No, I've never met Ringo. No, I've never been in the same orbit as him. Never, never. I met Pete Best though. Yeah, I've met Pete Best.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh, have you interviewed Pete?
I haven't no, because I
Oh,
think he's up. Yeah, but I did contact his brother.
oh right, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
hopefully someday I would love to. So I met him in
right,
2016
right, okay.
when he
Yeah,
came
yeah,
to Manchester for some talk. So yeah, I have met him before,
yeah,
but
yeah.
not Ringo though.
No, no, I've never. I don't expect I will meet a Ringo, but I'm sure. I'm sure they know who we are. I'm
Yeah,
sure they know who we are, and I know you know, they are aware of who the Bootleg Beatles are.
yeah,
I know that Neil, who's Neil and Andre, who sort of they managed the band when they were playing in the band. Uh, they met George Harrison,
yeah, yeah,
and they've met Paul as well. So oh, you know, they know who we are, but I've never met them
yeah,
personally. So your question was, how do I project my inner Ringo?
yeah.
That takes a lot of practice.
Operation. It was
That takes a lot of practice because that takes years of practice. I'll be honest. To impersonate somebody like that is really difficult. When you think about it, the Beatles are really unique people. They look unique. Their playing is unique. Their movement is unique. Everything about you, it's the Beatles were truly unique. And Ringo is no exception to that. In that the way he just sort of, you know, just loosely played along, and he just was
yeah,
happy, and he, you know, he had that, he was like almost dancing when he's playing the drums. He's almost dancing,
yeah, yeah,
and there, I think one of the problems with it for me that I've always tried struggled with is that you're when you're drumming, you're decisively putting your hands and your feet in one particular place, you know, and but at the same time you've got to kind of move your body in a completely different place. So you're almost fighting your body to kind of move in a way that you don't really naturally do. And Ringo was quite hunched over, you know, he was quite hunched over,
yeah,
and so it is quite unnatural, but that's the uniqueness of Ringo's playing, you know, that sort of jolly kind of, you know, dancing along whilst playing. Yeah,
yeah. Well, there's always this. I mean, it's not really a joke, but some people, says that he's not even the best drummer in the Beatles. I mean, you're the
don't
best
say
person
that,
to
Anna.
ask.
Don't say
You're
that.
you're the best person to ask about how awesome Ringo Starr is because you've been playing him for 10 years or maybe even more. Not just in the bootleg Beatles, but
Yeah,
in other
yeah, yeah.
videos.
Awesome. Well, I mean,
So
there's so many reasons, you know, there's so many reasons you know, that makes Ringo awesome. I mean, there's so many reasons, you know, I can only pick out a few to discuss now.
yeah,
One of the things about Ringo is that if you're interested in Ringo and you ever go to Liverpool, go and see where he grew up. That's the most important thing. Go and see where he grew up. Go
yeah,
and see that little tiny little house in that tiny
yeah,
little street,
yeah,
and go and think what it must have been like for a drummer to live there and practice. I mean, the opportunity to practice without getting somebody throwing a brick through your window, you know, would have been very, very, very limited. The only way that he could learn how to play the drums was actually by doing it in practice. You know, actually going out, joining a band, and playing songs, and that dictated how his drumming was going to be,
yeah,
because somebody would say in the band, "Oh, we're going to do Johnny Be Good," or "We're going to do what I'd say," or something like that. And he had to learn the drum parts actually as he was performing. So when you think about the great sort of, you know, virtuoso drummers like Ginger Baker or Buddy Rich or any of these sort of drummers that have took time to actually practice the rudiments and the skills, and you know, Ringo would never have been given that opportunity, so he
mm,
had to sort of develop on the road, you know, develop, and he had the environment in which to do that. But it meant that when he came to join the Beatles, and the Beatles said, "Right, here's the song. What are you going to do?" He had that ability to take things that he'd learned from other songs and create something new into the song. And that's really quite hard. It's quite hard to sort of call on that information and do something new. But that's
Yeah.
how he. I mean, it's that's why Ringo plays that way. He plays, oh, I did this in that song. I'll do that in this song, and I'll add a few little things to it. Another reason is that he was born left-handed. He was born left-handed, and
Yeah.
um, he was um, he was forced to write right-handed because being left-handed in that sort of world at that sort of time was considered an aberration, really. So he was forced to
Oh,
write right-handed, and his early drum kit was a right-handed drum kit. And if you analyze Ringo's playing, especially Abbey Road, if you want to look at Ringo's playing on Abbey Road, you'll notice that he's always leading with his left hand, always lead. All those fills, all that big drum solo on the end, and all come together. It's all starting with his left hand. In fact, he nearly always fills with his left hand, and so he had to generate a kind of creative way of doing fills
yeah.
um, with his left, starting with his left hand. So he'll have put little interesting little pauses in the middle of a fill, or he'll do something crazy down on his floor tom to try and so that when he goes back into the beat, he's back into with his right hand, and all that is just creative. It's creative drumming in response to where he come from, what he was upbringing was like, and where he was learning how to play the drums.
Yeah. Are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm a righty, so
Oh, really?
I have to learn a bit left-handed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Ringo is ambidextrous. That's probably the best way. He could play very, very convincing, very, very well, like a right-handed drummer, and we all know that with the is some of his, I feel fine with all that on the ride cymbal. And, he could do all that, but his preference was to start fills with his left hand. And when you kind of think about it, it kind of makes sense because if you think of a drum kit set up as in a right-handed way, if you start with your right hand, that's my right hand, my left hand is over here, which is over the hi-hat and over the crash cymbal. If
Yeah.
I start with my left hand, I have all the other drums and the ride cymbal there, so you get more options to. So it was kind of like something that he did that helped him to develop all these kind of fills that you wouldn't really do if you were right-handed.
Yeah. Do you not cross? Like, I don't know. I don't know why, but I often think like, okay, pause. If you wanted to pose like a drummer, you cross your your
Oh yeah,
hand.
like this, like your hi-hat and your
Yeah.
snare. Yeah, yeah. Well, Ringo did that. He was leading when he was playing a beat. He was leading with his right hand, but when he was doing fills, he was leading with his left.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just very, it's just very unique. And of course, if he'd have been taught, he'd had maybe had a better opportunity to learn the drums as a skill,
Yeah.
I guess a lot of those things would have been ironed out of him. They would have said, "Don't hunch over. Don't use your right hand there. Use your left hand there, or use your left hand." All of these things would have been ironed out, and he would have become a less interesting drummer. I think.
Yeah. Well, there's a quote from you from this article that I've read that you said that if
No.
Ringo, well, if Ringo had been in any other band in
Yeah.
history,
Yeah.
he'd be universally considered as a brilliant drummer. But because
Well,
he was in the Beatles, and everyone in the Beatles, especially the front men, like
yeah.
John Paul
Yeah.
George, they're all
Yeah.
exceptionally amazing. Then maybe Ringo. That's the reason why he's a very understated.
I think the thing is though, yeah, that is true. You put Ringo up against pound for pound up against a lot of drummers, and he would be considered to be one of the greatest university. There'd be no question. There would be no question
Yeah,
whatsoever
yeah, yeah,
about his. I mean, in my mind, there is no question. I think in most people's mind, there's no question about his importance as a drummer.
yeah, yeah,
But I guess the thing is, it's like look what he was surrounded by. He was surrounded by two of the greatest rock and roll voices ever.
yeah,
He was. I mean, two of the greatest songwriters ever. It's like Paul McCartney, for instance. If he hadn't been the greatest songwriter on earth, he would have been considered one of the greatest frontmen. If he hadn't been the greatest frontman, he would have been considered one of the greatest bass players. You know, and you know, he's layered with huge talent, Paul McCartney, and
Yeah,
John Lennon as one of the greatest songwriters, one of the greatest voices, a great rhythm player, you know, and George Harrison and Ringo. I mean, George was a great guitarist. If you actually really study what George is doing, amazing, and a great voice. Again, you know, people don't think of George Harrison's voice as being one of the greatest. But again, if he was
yeah,
in a different band, if he was the front man of a band, he'd be considered one of the greatest frontmen. And so you've got Ringo, who's doing what Ringo does in that band. So it's obvious that you see him as an important part of the package, but you don't see him as the package, which is something that you know, is that something that he might have been considered had he been in another band.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is true. Well, I've got to like I've got to say that I have been to Ringo's house.
Yeah.
And I've actually written something on the wall as well because
Oh,
I've
have
seen.
you? Yeah, yeah.
um, because what about Ringo's singing? Because do you sing?
I
Do you
do.
get an opportunity to sing when you're in the
Yeah,
Beatles?
I sing I've sing pretty much all the Ringo songs. Not all,
Yeah.
not all in one performance. No, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think the ones that I sing most often are "I Want to Be a Man," "Act Naturally," "Octopus's Garden," "Yellow
Yeah.
Submarine." So you
Yeah.
know you've got the bottle with a little out for my friends.
With
Yeah,
a
so
little
you've got
help.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those five get regular outings.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's because, but when you're not touring,
Yeah.
do you still get that you sometimes act like Ringo, or is it like, or you become Gordon when you're not on stage? Or I mean,
Uh,
it's like with actors, isn't it? You know, when they do like method acting,
yeah,
for
yeah,
a
yeah,
whole period of time, they'll be like this character.
yeah.
And but
I
is it
think.
easy for you to go back to being Gordon Elsmore
Oh
when you?
yeah, I mean it is. It is. I think it is. But I think there's something strange about how people gravitate towards their part um, in the Beatles. So like when the film came out, the Get Back film, Let It Be, came out. People went. You could see the personalities of the Beatles much more clearly, couldn't you?
Yeah, yeah,
And people would say, "Gosh, Gordon, you do have the similar sort of personality as Ringo. You know, you are kind of reserved, but always there. You know, that is a bit of a trait that seems to be quite similar. Apart from that, there's not a great deal, but there is that sort of thing. Um, and I think you get Pauls that are very similar to Paul, and you get Johns that are very similar to John. It's just that they're the coincidence of their personalities, you know. But do I have any problems switching? No, I find it. I make an absolute decision to not take the job home with me. I don't dress up like one of the Beatles. I don't, you know, I don't do any of that. I don't project Ringo any more than I need to. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I've seen on your social media page that you're currently looking for a Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
So how's the audition going? Is it?
We haven't started. We're still
You haven't started
we're
yet. Yeah.
still collating, as I say. We're still collating. I think we've had quite a lot of responses, which is good. I think it's just a case of it's very difficult when you're in a band that plays so much. I mean, we play. I mean, like in sort of the springtime, winter and spring, we were continuously on tour. You know, we were on tour from January all the way through to April, actually. So we don't have a great deal of time to find somebody. So now we're doing it now. So we're hoping to get some auditions together in the summer
Yeah.
and see who's out there. And it'd be very interesting because I think when you're in a band like the Bootlegs, you become a little bit isolated from the other bands. It's not this. It's because you just don't get to go out and see anybody play anymore because you're doing it yourself so much. So it's nice to actually see that there's younger people coming through. There's people that we've known about that have been improving over the years. So it's very interesting when you do something like this, and hopefully we'll find somebody. It and
Will fit in with
so-
the Bootleg
yeah,
Beatles. yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
did you audition yourself, or did you audition as Ringo, or did you just go into the job when
Uh,
the
I, I,
Beatles?
I did. I was called in last minute. Um, See, this is where it's useful to know the members of the Bootleg Beatles. What happened was I'd just been on tour with another band in Holland, and I just got back on. It was a Sunday. It was very much like today, and I was just having a sandwich or something, and Steve Hill, George in the Bootleg Beatles, rang me up and said, "Can you do a gig tonight in Harrogate?" Which from the Forest of Dean is about 5 hours drive.
Oh,
So, it was lunchtime. I thought if I don't set off now, I'm not going to make
you
it.
want me?
So, I just got in the car and I just went. And I thought it was just one show. And when I got there, they said, "Can you do the rest of the tour?" And this was like this was like the beginning of March. There was another sort of 20 dates or something, and I hadn't taken anything with me. I hadn't taken I hadn't taken a toothbrush or a change of clothes. I hadn't taken anything. I was completely unprepared for going on tour. So I had to spend the following day in Halifax shopping.
Oh, right.
So and so that was March 2016, and that's how that happened. Uh,
What about the costumes?
well, I just used the costumes that the Bootleg Beatles had, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
So I just none of them fitted me quite, but we got through it and we improved as we went along, that sort of thing. And I think later on in the year they had some more auditions just to see if there was anybody out there who might be able to do the job a bit better than me. And in the end, they decided that I just might as well just carry on. So
and that's 10 years. Yeah, 10 years ago, no, or
that's
nearly
10
ten
years.
years ago. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, nearly 10 years.
and
Yeah.
yeah, because you have been to Manila.
I have. What an amazing place. What an amazing place.
So what was it like? Because
There's
I know they treat people really well when they
Oh
go.
God, yeah. God, yeah. I think it's one of those places where it's either stop or it's go. Do you know? And people that we've met have always been on go. They're full on. They're like screaming at you. They're like enjoying it. There's no sort of like halfway. It's full on.
Yeah,
Great, great, great audiences. Great, overwhelming audiences. It's the closest thing to actual Beatlemania, real Beatlemania, when you go to the
yeah.
Philippines. Yeah.
But did you know the story about when the Beatles went to the
I
Philippines?
know, I know. I think it's sad. I think it's kind of sad, really, because I guess that the Marcoses sort of did that. I'm sure that the people of the Philippines were had a completely different view.
Yeah,
From what my experience of the people of the Philippines is that they love it. They absolutely love it. And if we went to play there tomorrow, that they'd be screaming
oh
at you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I was too young when that happened, but
Right.
I found out about it via the film,
Yeah.
the anthology film, and also when I was young. I mean, the Beatles were always playing. You can hear it. The neighbors so like playing it as well. So we do love the Beatles in the Philippines.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
one thing I wanted to ask is, did they feed you well?
There's no question about the hospitality in the Philippines. It's second pretty much to none. I mean, we get treated really well all over the world, but the Philippines is definitely a an experience in all
Yeah.
ways. Yeah, yeah.
How many nights did you do? Is it just the one or just the one
I
night?
mean, we go there every couple of years. I think sometimes we do like three or four. We do obviously we do Manila.
Yeah.
Is it Cebu? Is that
Cebu? Yeah.
yeah?
Cebu. Cebu, yeah.
We've been to Davao, I think,
Oh, wow.
and there's one right at the very top. I can't remember. Um, I can't remember, but we sometimes go there for 3 or 4, maybe a week. Or sometimes we just go there and do one show in Manila. We go there every couple of years. You know, it's a sort of a regular on the
Yeah.
touring schedule. You know.
And do you get a chance to see the country, or is it mainly
Yeah,
when?
yeah. No, we get to travel around. Sometimes we get
Yeah.
stuck in traffic jams. We've been stuck in traffic jams in Manila quite a few times. I think we know. I tell you what, the last time, no, twice now, we've been to Manila, been caught in a like a hurricane.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
we've been caught, and like all the electricity's gone out in the hotel, and like my girlfriend is like, why haven't you been talking to me? Why haven't you been? I've been stuck in a hurricane for the last 2 days. There's been no contact. That I mean, that is the tropical nature of the first.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Brilliant.
Any plans of going back soon, or?
I don't know actually. I mean, we will be going back. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of time. It just hasn't been quite. Probably next year, 26 maybe or 27. I don't know exactly, but it's
Oh,
never gonna. It's never gonna be. We're always going to be going back there at some point.
yeah, because you're touring at the moment. I mean, I know that you're playing in Manchester in September,
Are
but
we? Thank you. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, you're playing a Gorilla.
Oh right.
in
Oh yeah. Okay.
Manchester,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, so I had a photo next to the poster because I thought, well, I haven't met you yet. I haven't met the real Gordon Elsmore yet, so I'll just have a photo next to the poster. But unfortunately, that day we're gonna be in Ireland because we're doing a family holiday in September. But the one thing I've discovered is you're playing at the Philharmonic in August.
Yes. That's part of the Beatles week,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I am definitely going to be there. So I'll make
Are
sure.
you? Okay. 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 Well, you just have to drop me a little message and say, we'll meet up. We'll meet up, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you do several costume changes, or is it just one particular
Oh
theme? And
no, we're always getting changed. We can't stop ourselves from getting into different costumes. So this last tour, you can imagine, can't you? All the films. So we started with Hard Day's Night,
yeah,
silver suits, mohair suits, and then we went to the Black Roll for Help. Then Magical Mystery Tour was I had the big poncho and the orange cords, and then we went to Yellow Submarine. Of course, we're all dressed as cartoon characters there, so I had all the wacky, massive kipper tie and the stripy jacket, and then finishing off, we ended up with the I had the red Mac for the rooftop. Is that right? Yeah, it was the roof. Oh no, no, it wasn't. Oh yes, it was. I think it was
yeah.
the Mac for the rooftop, and of course took that off and had the spotty shirt. So how many costume changes was that? That's probably
Oh,
about
five.
six,
Was that
5 or
six?
6. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can imagine what it's like backstage when you're doing your quick changes. It's like you
Yeah,
run off, you throw all these clothes on, throw no more clothes back on, and then you're off stage again, all in about 30 seconds or a minute.
yeah,
So there's lots of costume changes. So I don't know what we'll be doing at Liverpool, coming back to the Liverpool show. I don't know. We haven't, because it's part of the Beatle week, so we might
yeah,
have to do something a little bit different. But we play at the Philharmonic in Liverpool quite a lot. That's a regular on our Christmas tour.
yeah, yeah. Do you have the prosthetics, like the nose thing?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Oh, yeah, no, I do. Because look at that, it's tiny. It's tiny. I was not blessed with Ringo's nose. I do, and do you know what? People go, oh, it's got prosthetic nose on. That's ridiculous. It's like, and I go, yeah, I know, but you know, yes, I know it's not my real nose, but do you know what? None of it is real. None of it is real. We're not the Beatles. Do you know what I mean? None of it is. It's just an illusion, and that is that is what we do. We do the whole makeup, the wigs, and the prosthetic nose in my case,
Yeah,
and that is part of the theatrical nature of the band. And it
yeah,
looks bloody good. I'll tell you that it looks really good. It looks really good. I mean, not talking about my nose. My nose obviously looks good, but I mean the whole show is amazing with all the AVs and all the costumes and the lights. It's
yeah,
just it's
yeah.
just an amazing show.
So, do you do your own makeup, or do you have people
Yeah, I
do?
do. I do. I do. It takes me longer to do the makeup than it does to do the show. It takes me about 90 minutes to do makeup, because all the glue and everything.
Wow,
And,
I really have to go and see it because I know that. Do you know Chris Sharrock from the Ice
yeah,
School?
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah. Met Chris a few
because
times. Yeah,
yeah, because he does Ringo as
he
well.
does. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The Coven.
yeah.
I think they're called the Coven Beatles or something like that.
Cabin
But
Club Beatles. Yeah, Cabin Club Beatles. Yeah.
yeah, and I was told that he does the nose thing as well. So it's like,
It's kind of like, but the thing is when you get it right, when you get it right, the profile of Ringo, it's an amazing, it's an amazing transformation. It's funny because I've talked about this a lot to people. It's like when people don't look at your nose when you're looking at somebody, when you talk to somebody, people don't
yeah,
really look at your
yeah,
nose. That it's not like unless you've got a strange nose. But when you change that part of your face, it changes everything about your face. It really does, and I guess that is why people have nose jobs done. I guess I
yeah,
guess but it does. It has a incredible transformative thing on your face.
yeah. And I suppose with Ringo, the nose is important, isn't it?
Everybody knows it. It's no Ringo. It's hair. It's
It's,
the hair. It's the hair, it's the nose, and the
and it's the
smile,
nose.
isn't it, with Ringo?
Yeah. Can I just ask you? I don't know if you want to answer this, but
Oh no.
do you see do you see yourself just really staying in the Bootleg Beatles, or as a drummer, do you want to find or maybe form your own band and
Ooh,
doing original material or something?
I think if you're a drummer, you want to be playing the drums as much as you can, and you want to make a living out of it, and you kind of want to, you want to play live. And it kind of, in some ways, as long as you enjoy the music that you're doing, which is really important because you've got to do it so much, um, it's okay. It's okay because I kind of would like to do a bit more creative studio work and stuff like that. But I can do that. I can do that after the Bootleg Beatles. I don't think. I mean, nobody is in the Bootleg Beatles for apart from the original members. They're
Yeah,
not gonna. They're not in a forever. It's not like a forever job. But
yeah,
I'm quite happy doing it at the moment. I'm quite happy doing it at the moment. As long as I look good, I can still do the job.
yeah, yeah,
I'm happy to stay exactly where I am. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And have the Bootleg Beatles released their own, like, maybe album as live set
No,
or
no, I
something,
don't.
or
I,
it's not
I, I don't
it's not
think so. I don't know if there'd be much call for it. I don't know, but they've done documentaries and all sorts of things in the past. But I don't think we've actually done any. We've done recording for promotional purposes, and we've done recording for to add to the show. But we've never done
yeah,
anything as a release. Not that I think individual members have done their own things. Neil's done his own thing.
okay, yeah,
Andre was doing his own thing.
yeah, yeah,
At the moment, if we had a chance to do that, I think we would. But we're playing so much.
yeah, yeah. And what about the fans? uh do you get fans that really think that you're Ringo, or maybe
Um,
it's not like
no, nothing like that. But you do get fans that are like that will that you'll get fans that will dress up. Fans that dress up. That's a lot. So you're
oh
dressed up as the Beatles, and they're dressed up as 1960s, 60s theatre.
yeah,
You
yeah,
get that a lot. You get the whole sort of dressing up thing gets transferred into the audience as well. You'll get that quite a lot, and you get people coming up to you, after the show, and they'll talk to you about. I mean, we have fans that sort of like make us little things and draw little sketches, and they give us lots of stuff. But I think fans can get really into it, but that's part of the whole experience, isn't it? It's no,
yeah.
you come see a Bootleg Beatles show, and why not dress up? Why not make it an
Yeah,
occasion?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so when you're not doing Ringo, or when you're not playing in the Bootleg Beatles, what keeps you busy? Because I know that you're very busy with all the tours and everything, and going abroad,
Yeah,
of course.
I try to do. as little as possible. No, I do. I think that one of the things is that as soon as we get any time off, we try to go away on holiday, try to sort of switch off.
Yeah,
And then, in the summer, it can becomes like festivals. So we're in a low gear, really. We're kind of just doing one or two or three a week. So we get time to see the family and the kids and, spend some time in the garden and just all those healthy, sort of rooted kind of things that just keep
yeah,
you on the ground.
yeah. Well, talking about festivals, I believe that the Bootleg Beatles played Glastonbury as well, or are
Yeah.
you going to be playing Glastonbury again, or because this was before
Yeah.
your time, wasn't it? It was like when they
Uh,
played Glastonbury.
no, yeah, I think the televised Glastonbury that they did in 1990, I don't know, in the mid
Yeah,
90s, that was before my time. But we play Glastonbury Festival every year. When
oh,
it's on, we play at the acoustic stage every year, and we're playing there again on the
again
Sunday
this
night.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, this Sunday night. So the acoustic stage is kind of like, so we have the pyramid stage, and then you have the other stage. It's a big, big stage. The acoustic stage is a big stage. It's one of the big ones, but it doesn't get televised usually, unless there's something really, really different on
Yeah,
there. But
yeah,
we're on. Yeah, it's a big, big theatre. We a big sort of tent stage. We tend to play on I think we're one of the last acts on the Sunday night.
oh,
Last but one, I
right.
think Roy Harper might be headlining just after us. But we're yeah. So it's a pretty big deal. It's a
Yeah.
pretty
So
big
you
deal.
do it every year? You
Yeah, and
do the
one year, well, 2017, we did the pyramid stage in 2017 because that is 50 years. That had been 50 years since Sergeant Pepper.
oh,
So so
yeah,
we did the Sergeant Pepper album with the orchestra.
yeah,
That was a pyramid stage slot on. I think it was on a Saturday. I think Saturday morning or something like
yeah.
that.
And I also found out that the Bootleg Beatles supported Oasis
Yeah, Nebworth,
in
96.
Neverwood. Yeah, God,
Yeah.
that must have been so. Like, I mean,
But
I mean,
again, before my time, before my
yeah.
time. But
I mean, it's
um,
well known that they love the Beatles. The Gallagher brothers love the Beatles,
yeah, I
right?
mean, Liam comes to see us when we're in London. He comes to see us. A few times he comes to see us, and we
Yeah.
have a chat. It's
Wow.
not. I think he enjoys. I think they've always been quite supportive of the Bootleg
Yeah.
Beatles. I think
Yeah.
it's something that they really enjoyed at the time playing with the Bootleg Beatles. So
Yeah.
there's an affiliation there goes back 30 years or so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ringo and Paul McCartney, they still do events, right? So being the number one, the Beatles tribute, doesn't it give you like at least a privilege of being there and maybe getting to meet them? And no,
Well, you can never say never, can you? You can never say never. It's kind of I don't know. It's kind of I mean, I don't know really. I mean, we narrowly missed Paul in Glastonbury when he did the light. Well, he was headlining, I think, Glastonbury 2 years ago,
yeah,
something like
yeah,
2 years ago. We were playing in Glastonbury the night before, I think. Was it the night after? I think we played the night after. So we narrowly missed him there. I mean,
oh,
we can never say never. I mean, we never say never. It would be lovely. It would be lovely to finally meet them and see
yeah,
what they
yeah,
actually thought. But I mean, they'll always be gracious, won't they? They're always extremely gracious about these things. So
yeah.
so I would imagine that it would be a very very good meeting. Very
Well,
good.
what about you yourself? Have you not reached out to Ringo, and or is
I
it
mean,
something
it's
that
like
you don't really want to do?
it's a bit like, yeah, asking it. It's difficult, isn't it?
Sorry.
It's kind of difficult when it's like asking God.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like that. It's
you.
like it's a bit. I'm not sure if I want to do that. It feels a bit like, oh, I don't know. Do I want to meet him? I don't know. I mean, I do obviously, but I don't want to make it look like I'm bothering him. It's like I've impersonated you for most of my drumming career. Do you want to meet up? And it's like that kind of what I don't know how that's going to go down. You probably think no.
But that would be amazing, I think. But do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
also say like peace and love and things like that? Do
I
you
have to
do
do
that?
that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I have to do that. Yeah, yeah.
That's brilliant. Well, I know it's already an hour, but I've
Okay,
still got like four regular
okay.
questions I
Go on
always
then.
ask you.
Hit me.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if Ringo twirls when he plays, but does he, or do you do this twirling when you play the drums?
Oh no, I don't twirl my sticks. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah, twirling.
No, never learned. Don't want to learn. Don't care. You know,
So has Ringo's never done it?
I don't think so.
No.
I think no. I don't think he's no. I don't know. I've never seen him do it. I doubt he would. He's just more like, let me just hit the drums.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, can I just ask you about Zach as well? Zach
yeah, yeah,
Starkey. You've heard the news about the Who.
yeah.
So, have you got any opinion about that, or what do you think of it?
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know the inside story. I don't know the general story that well either. What I do know is that Zach, I saw Zach play in 2001 with The Who, and he absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was the thing, because obviously I was doing the Ringo thing, and I'd studied, a lot of Ringo's playing, and I don't know whether Zach would appreciate me saying this, but he really looks like Ringo. He really work, he moves. He's got the body, he's got that genetic thing that even though his drumming isn't really like Ringo's, it's like he he does look, he sits and he plays like Ringo in that sort of position, and it's just mind blowing. It's just phenomenal to see that sort of genetic echo. And but his drumming is I mean, it's just a great drummer. He's just a great
Yes.
drummer, and I don't know what's been going on there, but he should be playing. He should be
Yeah.
playing. Yeah.
I'm sure there are loads of bands would like to have Zach,
Oh God, yeah,
Zach
yeah, yeah,
Starkey as their drummer.
yeah.
Have you met him? Have you met Zach Starkey? No. No.
No, again, no, 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 I haven't. I mean, now you've asked me all these questions about meeting people. I don't just sit in my house and, yeah, it
No?
makes me sound like I don't ever go out. No, no, I've never met Zach. I'd like to meet Zach actually. I would like to meet Zach. I think we'd get on. I think there's quite a few questions I'd like to ask him. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
questions like Ringo, but I've got an awful lot of respect for Zach. Awful lot of respect as a drummer. He's up there. He's a great. I mean, it's always very difficult when your dad's Ringo, or your dad's a famous drummer,
Of
and you're a
course, yeah.
drummer, and
Yeah.
it's very different. People want to see, and I know I've just said all that thing about Ringo, but people kind of want to see your dad. But it's like he's a really good drummer. He's a really good drummer. Different
Yeah.
drummer. He's
Yeah.
more akin to Keith Moon, I guess. But I mean, he's a great drummer. He hasn't just, if he wasn't Ringo's son,
Yeah. Yeah.
he'd
It's
still be rated and right at the top there. He would still
that's
be.
true. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you don't use your popularity, your being in the Bootleg Beatles as a way to sort of like meet the
No,
drummers that you
no.
the
I
drummers
think
that you
that's.
want.
I think that might. It feels like I'd be overstepping the mark really there, but
Oh.
you know, you know, I think I would be overstepping the mark there because I don't know. Perhaps that's where my yeah. I don't know. We don't use our title to go and find famous people. No, I don't know. I don't know why we don't. Perhaps we just don't think it's us. But
Oh, okay. But it's okay for other fans to sort of like come up to you and then ask for
yeah,
photos
because
and
yeah, yeah, that's fine. Because at the end of the day, I'm very very normal. I'm very very normal. I go home. I just have a normal life, and I suppose everybody does. I don't. Even the famous people just go home and have a normal life. It's just that I get home. I get home in a modest car, well, whereas famous people go home in a Bentley. It's kind of
what about drumming heroes apart from Ringo? Do you have any
oh
other drumming
no.
heroes?
Um, I mean, they're all the '60s drummers. Always Ginger Baker, Mitch Mitchell, obviously John Bonham, Phil Collins. I love Phil
Yeah.
Collins. Phil is playing. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
there's there's absolutely there's loads. Loads. Um, yeah, I mean, there's tons of drummers. Yeah, Ian Pace. I loved Ian Pace as well. Loved his. I mean, he's obviously a left-hander. I think left-handed drummers create a sort of musical shape as they're playing that fascinates me. Phil Collins was the same. Just doing things in like almost like a mirror image, but there's something special about it. I love watching left-handed drummers. It's a big thing.
Yeah, yeah. What about disasters? I call it. Have you ever had any drumming accidents? Like maybe
Oh
maybe you're
God,
not
have I had any? Have I had any drumming accidents?
yeah.
I mean, obviously, in my early days, bits of drumsticks would fly off into my, face and stuff like that, and
Oh no.
and stuff. Yeah, things like, but nothing serious. Nothing serious. Thankfully,
Yeah.
nothing serious. I can't think of anything that has been a disaster. I probably put the phone down and go, oh yeah, that was horrendous. But no, I don't think so. I've had some very near close calls. I mean, I remember in Dubai being set up literally 2 inches on a like in a kind of we were on a like a jetty that went out to sea, like a pier type thing, and we were set up at the end, and the drum stool had been given like we'd been given 1.5 inches between the drum stool and the deep blue sea. You
Oh
know,
my god.
and it's like, and all night I was like, the thing was, and I was like playing, and I was thinking, I can't really do full Ringo here, or else I'll end up in the sea. So there's been a few things like that where people have set up, and you think, oh no, no, but no actual disasters. No actual
No. Well,
disasters.
thank heavens for that. So you've been to Dubai as well? Because I used to live in the UAE. I was there for 7 years. So what do you think of Dubai?
Phenomenally hot. That was what my we've been there a few times, and Abu Dhabi and places like that.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, just phenomenal. I think Abu Dhabi, the drum kit, the plastic on top of the drum kit that we were using melted. It was so hot, and I had to pour water all over the stool to be able to sit down. I remember it being like incredibly hot out in the open. Dubai's, it's fantastic, isn't it? Fantastic, fantastic. It's all about the hotels in Dubai, isn't it? You go to
yeah,
these hotels and are absolutely breathtaking,
yeah.
breathtaking.
Yeah, I haven't been back for a long time, but I
Right?
would love to go and see Dubai again and Abu Dhabi, of course, because that's
Yeah.
that's where we used to live. Okay, last question now is what would be your advice to aspiring drummers out there?
Aspiring drummers. I think it's. I suppose it's like a kind of. It kind of makes sense, but I think these days, I think people want things immediately. They want things to happen overnight, and it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen unless you're lucky. Unless you're lucky, it doesn't happen like that. To be a professional, you have to work and work and work and work and work, and you go through a long period of time where you never really lift off. You never really lift off. You don't earn a great deal of money. It's quite
Yeah,
difficult, and then suddenly things start changing. But it's about perseverance. It's about perseverance and practice, and it's about being honest with yourself about how much you want to do it, and don't expect things to happen overnight. Just work at what you do, play what you enjoy, find keep the love for it inside you, and because that will get you through the difficult times. You just got to persevere and keep going.
yeah, that's very good advice actually. Yeah, because
Yeah.
especially if you love what you're doing, you just don't think
Yeah,
of the
you've
money
got
that
to.
much. It was like you got to,
I've
yeah.
I
So,
think I've played Hey Jude about 5,000 times. I think that's what I've done in my. And I'm not even joking. I'm not even being, just pulling a massive number out of the air. I reckon I have. I reckon I think I worked it out and went, really? I went, yeah, 5,000 times over the years, over the course of
yeah,
25 years. And I still love it. I still love it. I
it's
still love
really good
playing
luck.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's one of the greatest songs ever written. So,
yeah,
um, you've got to keep that love inside. You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to love it. You've got to love it. You've got to love it.
yeah.
And and I do, and that's what's kept me going.
Yeah. Well, before I let you go, is there a Ringo saying that you do when when you
Is there a Ringo
in a-
saying?
yeah
Um,
in a Ringo voice? Do you copy his voice or
yeah, I'll try and do it now, but sometimes have to warm up. I think. Oh, Miami was the best place I'd ever been. I could do it better than that. You put me on the spot there, and I'm nervous now. But
Sorry. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Gordon. I really had a great time. I mean, I know it's all about, you being Ringo and things like that.
not
I'm sure.
looking like Ringo, but being Ringo.
Yeah, well, you love what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you love being in the Bootleg Beatles,
I do. Yeah.
yeah, and hopefully you'll be Ringo for as long as you want to be.
Yeah. As long as I can. As long as I can.
Yeah, yeah. And once again, thank you to Stephen Earlham for the introduction
I'll
of
be
the.
having words with him. Yes, I will.
And I'll see you at the Philharmonic in
Okay.
August.
Yes, I'll see you there. I'll see you
Definitely,
then.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Finally, get a photo with you in the real
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, and in your full Ringo outfit as well. So.
I'll bring the pink one.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
enjoy the rest of the weekend, and
Yes.
yeah, see you
Thank you.
soon. Bye,
Okay.
Gordon.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Oh my God, thank you. Thank you so much. Aiden just said that he grew up with the Beatles, and the Bootle Beatles. Bootle Beatles are great. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. Thank you everyone, and thank you Stephen for that introduction to Gordon Elsmore. I really enjoyed that chat with him. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's most of the time. So like, I wish I could stay on and chat to them a bit longer, but an hour, an hour is okay. I don't want to sort of like keep the time. I know they're very busy, and I'm always grateful to all our guests, to Gordon for saying yes to Ask the Drummer. Thank you so much. Well, wow, we've learned so much about Ringo. I mean, to anyone, to any of the music fans out there saying he's not even the best drummer in the Beatles, I mean, you've got to speak to Gordon Elsmore, and he'll tell you why he's one of the greatest. Ringo Starr is one of the greatest drummers in the whole wide world. So, thanks again, Gordon, and I'll be back next week with another awesome drummer guest. But for now, I'm gonna go to a gig in Prescott. It's near Liverpool, but it's nothing to do with the Beatles. But I am going to another gig this evening. So as always, love music, love life, love drummers. They're absolutely amazing. Every single one of them, every single drummer that's casted on Ask Drummer is just so amazing, so wonderful people, and they've got so much to talk about as well. So thank you everyone for all your support, and I'll see you all next week. Bye for now. Bye.